Hi everyone, and welcome to Conversations with CEOs, a new podcast from Andersen consisting of short conversations with leading CEOs in Mauritius. My name is Fazeel Soyfoo. I'm a partner at Andersen in Mauritius, and I'll be the host for this series. I'm delighted to welcome as our first guest award-winning entrepreneur Lawrence Wong, founder and CEO of Trobe, a company which Lawrence founded over 20 years ago now, and is a leader in the food distribution and manufacturing sector in Mauritius. Lawrence, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here also.
Let's delve straight into it. You know, COVID, Lawrence, has exposed our vulnerability and highlighted the importance of local production, especially when it comes to the food sector. You have been extremely successful in developing a business that is centered around such local production. Now, has COVID changed the way you do business to ensure that you can maintain sustainable?
Yes, I think COVID has definitely changed the way we think about our business fundamentally. The way we look at our business today, we have to look at our business in a more, one of the big lessons of COVID. I would say that one of the big lessons of COVID-19 is that we need to have a more balanced portfolio for our business in every aspect of the word. For example, when I take revenues, I need to balance my portfolio in terms of revenues. I cannot just depend on revenue locally, meaning Mauritius as a market. I need to think regional. I need to be able to export my product. Going forward, that's what we're going to do, export our products. We have already started that process, and think about the continent and also think globally how we're going to balance our portfolio. Another example is in terms of supply. When I take my supply, I'm into commodities. I cannot just depend on one single supply chain for milk powder, for example. I need to balance my suppliers. I need to balance in every aspect of the business, like I said, okay? And we need to have a good portfolio of our business. We also have to have a look at our business in a more sustainable way. That's one of the, I think, biggest lesson that everyone has to really think about, how to be more sustainable, not just business-wise, but sustainable in terms of people, in terms of self-care, in every aspect of the word.
And have you been able to translate that into your own business? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think when we look at our business today, every decision we take at Trobe is to fundamentally think, how can it be more sustainable? At least you need to have that reflex. It's a start, okay? The biggest secret of a business is to start something, is to keep doing things, but at least start the process of looking at things more sustainably. Okay?
Thank you. Very interesting. I think everyone agrees that we need more local production. And I was reading an article recently about the Made in Moris label, which is already 10 years old, I think, this year. And it's growing steadily. However, critics argue that the pace of growth isn't quite what we expected. Now, partly due to the challenges faced by COVID, not to mention shifts in consumer demands, in consumer expectations. Recently, you talked about an ecosystem that is required to help producers, consumers, as well as entrepreneurs. What is it that you have in mind?
Wow, that's a big question, a long one as well. I would have to say that the first aspect of your question is about the growth of Made in Moris. Let's make sure that we are clear about the definition of Made in Moris. What's the objectives of Made in Moris when the brand was launched 10 years ago? Is to create awareness that Mauritian product can be of quality, of equal, if not better quality than those imported. Maybe today it's not there yet in terms of perception that local products can be better or as equal that our peers from every country, from advanced countries, from everywhere. When you look at the shelves of a supermarket in Mauritius, we have products from every single country, every single continent, which is good. The Mauritian consumer is very lucky and blessed to have so much choices on their shelves.
Indeed.
Okay. However, made in Moris, when I speak of made in Moris, for me, it really resonates quality. There's a big cahier de charge concerning made in Moris. To be able to get into made in Moris as a brand, as a product, you need to respect a lot of quality aspects in time. So I think made in Moris quality is very important. Today, made in Moris has about 3,500 products concerned in terms of made in Moris, and in a lot of industries, not just food stuff. I think we have insurances in made in Moris today, and finances and hotels are being certified made in Moris. Artists are being certified made in Moris. So I wouldn't say that growth wasn't there. It's just a definition of the growth, maybe in terms of perception, what the public is looking at when you are talking about made in Moris. So made in Moris, I think it's gone a long way. It covers a lot of aspects. It covers a lot of other fields, like talking to private, not only private sector, but also public sector, how we make Mauritian products better, how we accelerate the growth of locally produced foodstuff. So I think made in Moris has done a big job.
And the outlook is very positive, certainly. And if I can go back to the question in terms of this ecosystem that you talk about, having an environment where consumers and producers and entrepreneurs can all benefit together. Is there anything you have in mind in terms of how we achieve this, especially concerning food production and concerning the sector that we're talking about?
Yes. When I answered that question and I spoke about ecosystem, what I had in mind is we produce a lot in Mauritius. We produce a lot of vegetables. I think we can be very self-sufficient in vegetables, in vegetable production. Me, I'm a producer of juice. Okay? I would like to source more locally. If I had a guaranteed supply, say I want to do a carrot juice tomorrow. If I want a...
Which you don't have today.
Which I don't have today. I want a carrot or a beetroot juice. I would like to have a better supply, a constant supply during the year. We could have a platform, for example, where a supplier I would say, okay, I'm going to guarantee a certain volume for year 2022 at a guaranteed price, and people can participate in supplying me with a good cahier de charge in terms of quality, in terms of control of the products. That's, I think, what I was talking about, where I can guarantee you demand and you guarantee me supply of good products that we can process, add value, and send to the market.
But why do you think that doesn't quite exist today?
It does exist, but everyone has, if we go to Mauritian term, do their own thing.
Okay.
Ultrastrasse. Okay, I have to go and look for suppliers. If we had a platform where we could have connections with suppliers, etc., we have that ecosystem. I think that's a pretty good opportunity. That's a good business opportunity for some people.
Very interesting. Let me move on to the next question that I had in mind for you. When we talk about local production, Lawrence, we don't just mean local investors. How can we encourage foreign investors, including major international names, to come and set up operations and infrastructure in Mauritius? Is there more the authorities can do in this area?
Look, there's always a lot that we can do. But bear in mind that in Mauritius, we already have a lot of multinationals operating, especially I'm talking about the food sector. They operate in different ways. If I take Nestle, for example, they've been present in Mauritius. They have an office in Mauritius for decades. They are here, they have a distributor, and they do the marketing. We take Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, for example. They have franchisees in Mauritius that are producing in Mauritius Coca-Cola, they are producing Pepsi-Cola, and it's multinationals, it's big global companies. So I think they've been present. Of course, more can be done to attract people. I give an example. Today, Mauritius can be a real platform for trading. When what I have in mind here is we can be really the connection between Asia, Africa, Europe, whatever you call it. If we look at trading, we can source products from Asia, add some value here and send to Africa or other markets. I think some people are already doing it. If we flip the coin and look at the other side, we can also source raw materials from Africa, process, add some value in Mauritius, and send to China or advanced countries.
Yes.
I think this can be done. We are the only country in Africa that has, I think, how do you call it, free trade agreements with China, and we also have free trade agreements with Africa.
Yes.
So this, I think, represents a huge opportunity for Mauritius, for companies in Mauritius, for multinationals also, to come here and do it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we hope, we look forward to more of them coming into Mauritius, and certainly I totally agree with you. I think Mauritius has that platform and has that environment which is attractive and which allows people and foreign investors to come and set up in Mauritius. Maybe it's creating, as you say, going back to your previous question, that ecosystem to be able to facilitate more of that sort of those setups and the integration. Now, talking about expansion earlier, and I know Trobe itself is considering expanding and exporting to the region. What incentives would you like to see introduced to facilitate regional and international expansion?
What incentives? I believe there's already a lot of incentives. I also believe that every business has to do their homework and tap into those incentives. For example, I think for exports, it's only 3% tax on your revenues instead of 15% corporate tax, usual corporate tax that we have in Mauritius. What can be done is we probably have to look more towards marketing, branding, how we can brand products regionally, how we can brand products on the continent, and so on. Up to now, our manufacturing has been either franchising, so we franchise, we learn from a big company and we franchise and we target just the Mauritian market. Or for textiles, for example, the big brands come and see Mauritius, we're just manufacturing, which is good. I don't say it's not good, but up to now, it's been like that for the last 40, 50 years. It's been that same kind of business, meaning we manufacture for other people. Why can't we be more ambitious? Why can't we build our own brands regionally, continentally, and globally? Why can't we already have the expertise of manufacturing. We can transform in Mauritius. Let's add value, let's build value. I think that's where the future is.
think with visionaries like yourself, I think we've got we have those lofty ambitions, and we hope we can realize these ambitions. Before I've got 2 more questions for you. With the national budget coming up in 2-3 months' time, what is the single most important measure you would consider bringing in the budget, considering the economic environment that we're in, recovering from the pandemic, the inflation invariably going up, especially as far as your sector is concerned? What do you think the Minister of Finance should be looking at in order to drive growth again in that sector?
Well, it's easy to give advice. It's easy to give advice. It's easy, I think, we don't know the constraint of the Minister of Finance. But let's assume, since you asked me that question, I'm going to do my best to answer it. Let's assume that all those, as you said, all those aspects, all those constraints are constant. Okay? I would probably look more at the process. I would probably look more at the process. If I had to answer your question directly, I say the single business decision that can be taken is probably to tackle the short-term inflation coming in. I think inflation can really eat up all the good measures that have been taken up to now to mitigate the social impact of COVID and so on. Having said that, that's the short term. We need to put the process to think also long term. How can we be more sustainable island? How can we create opportunities, look at opportunities, and accelerate those opportunities? Of course, a lot of people talk about food security. I think food security is important. I think with some imagination, it's not very difficult to achieve food security. To me personally, I don't think it's that difficult. We have a bit of land in Mauritius. We're very small, but I think we are in the top 10 countries in terms of surface area if we consider overseas. We are contributing to a lot of countries' food security and food chain with our seas that surrounds us. Achieving food security, to me, we can tap into those resources around us. So that's important. It's very important, especially I'm in the food business. I look at the price of commodities today. I look what's happening, not only at the prices, but the availability of commodities around us. Food, there's so much we can do in terms of food security. So I think I wouldn't say it's difficult. I said it's not difficult before. So that's those 2 aspects, and I would really look at the process in every decision, like we are doing at Trobe. Try to be as sustainable as we can be in our decision making, but really be clear where we want to go, where the country has to go, and then accelerate all this, implement all this.
Lawrence, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to have you with us, and thank you for all your insights.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the Andersen team, to have me here with you. It was a real honor and pleasure.
Join us for our next episode featuring yet another leading CEO in Mauritius, talking about their perspective on the business outlook. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.